I never realized when I started playing this game that there would be all of these crazy things that I would need to know and rules that I'd have to follow in order to sort of exist positively in this community. I thought that I could just, play some Rocket League, hit a few balls around, demo a few cars, score a few goals, ball chase a little, maybe own goal in ranked every now and then, just to piss my teammates off.
What's up?
But as it turns out, there are quite a few things that you must either do or not do if you want to survive in the Rocket League community. And I'm here to tell you what these things are, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I have made. So here are the 8 unwritten rules of Rocket League that you must follow if you want to be a sort of upstanding citizen within the Rocket League community. All right, rule number 1 is very important, and it's don't talk about Fortnite. So I just totally screwed this up, and I'm gonna pay for it. No, I'm just kidding. Number 1 is actually a highly debated rule, and the debate is not whether it deserves to be a rule, but whether rule number 1 is this thing or that thing. Some within the Rocket League community say that rule number 1 is the idea that when the clock hits 0, you must, regardless of which team you're on, attempt to keep the ball up and, keep the ball from hitting the ground. Now, other players point to a rule that's more recent, definitely, but has really been defined more clearly as rule number 1. And that is that when your car and other players' cars, usually like an opponent's car, unless your teammate is a wanker and likes to rotate near post. Anyways, when your car runs into another car head on and you get stuck there, both hitting the gas, just kind of like ramming into each other, the rule is that you must both keep driving forwards and just stay connected until a goal is scored or like until someone bumps you. So those are the 2 potential rules, either keeping the ball up at 0 seconds, regardless of which team you're on, or when you run into someone just getting stuck there and staying there. Now, I personally have always held the latter to be rule number 1, despite the fact that the first one is actually older, like it's been around longer. At least people have been defining it as rule number 1 for longer. It just never actually felt like any sort of rule. I feel like nobody follows it if you're playing competitively at all, because it's just stupid to keep the ball up if you're winning. Although, it could be argued that it's stupid to have your car locked with another player's car for an entire play. But it's really not as big of a disadvantage in that scenario. You're both kind of screwed. Whereas if you're up a goal and the ball is coming down, like you're going to do everything you can to make it hit the ground because you don't want to lose in that situation. But if your car gets stuck on someone else's car, you leaving that situation and going and helping your team also frees them up to leave. So it just feels more even. I don't know. I just feel like that first rule, the one that people used to say was rule number 1, it's kind of obsolete at this point. Nobody follows it. Even those players who say it should be rule number 1, they don't treat it like that. And, I've never seen anyone in competitive play do this ever. I've never seen it in a tournament. Whereas the more popular rule number 1, it happens like in major tournaments all the time. People get stuck and these pro players, like they won't get out of it. They just sit there. So anyways, we'll just say that the former rule number 1 is now rule number 2, even though nobody follows it. All right, rule number 3 is basically one that I've been guilty of breaking many times. And I can tell you it's not worth it. Like, don't break this rule. And it's basically the idea that you never hit the ball off the top of your teammate's car when they're dribbling. I have only ever scored 1 time doing this in 3 years of playing Rocket League. And yes, it was glorious. Yes, it was everything I could ever hope for. Yeah, it was probably worth all of the other times that I pissed my teammates off, bum rushing them from behind, and basically trying to steal all their glory, only to lose shortly after because our chemistry was now gone and all the trust was lost. Maybe it's just that until now I wasn't good enough as a player, like I didn't have enough car control to successfully pinch it off the top of my teammate's car, and now that I do, I should just keep trying it because I love doing this. But yeah, that's rule number 3. Don't do it. Don't be dumb like me. All right, the 4th rule is very important. It's basically the idea that if you tell someone to take the shot on kickoff and you're the one in front, usually on this like straight on kickoff, that means that you want to fake and let them hit it and pass it to you. Now, I've seen a lot of Champ 3 players, like high level or at least somewhat high level players. I don't know if you consider Champ 3s high level. I've seen lots of people who don't know this rule. Basically, if the kickoff is right and you just want to quickly communicate that you'd like to set up a fake kickoff, meaning that you would actually pretend to hit the ball and go set yourself up for a pass, then you just tell your teammate to take the shot. Now, if someone says this to you, don't be the idiot who thinks that you should drive forward and actually take the shot. It means that they're faking. I would say about 75% of people at my rank, Champ 3, GC, know what this is. So if you're in plat, there's a good chance you and your teammates aren't doing this, or you don't know what it is. So just be ready as you get into the higher ranks, you're gonna start seeing this. And it's also true if you're the back person on kickoff, just say, I got it. And that means that they're supposed to fake. But again, people don't realize this sometimes, and they just like get out of the way and expect me to go take the kickoff, even though I'm further away. Why would I be saying I want the kickoff? Like, oh my God. All right, rule number 5, never attempt to get involved in a solo airplay. This is similar to rule number 3, except basically just in the air. So if your teammate is going for a flip reset or an air dribble, especially air dribbles, just leave them alone. Like back off, grab boost, and get ready for what's next. Unless you're literally Krenovian squishy. And I have a feeling that you're not. But there's literally no use in you getting up there. It's just gonna ruin all of your positioning and you're probably gonna get scored on. For all these rules, just ask yourself before you do anything in Rocket League, am I being a wanker right now? It's really that simple. All right, rule number 6 primarily relates to ones, and it's basically this. If your opponent disconnects for a short period of time, leading to you getting a goal, it is best and most cordial, and in the best interest of the Rocket League community at large, to then give that player a goal in return, as they were at a severely unfair advantage, being unable to use their controller for a short period of time. Just basically stop being a shithead and like be a gentleman. All right, rule number 7, if your teammate wins the kickoff and is in position to get the boost and set up a solo play, on the wall, you must leave them alone and give them the space to do such. Do not take that boost and go for the play yourself. Unless your teammate has no momentum, I guess what I'm basically saying is that if you're right next to your teammate, like you're right next to each other, both going for the boost to set up a wall play on the kickoff, you as the back person, in my opinion, should back off and let them have it. Now, I've never heard anyone else really talk about this, but I just feel like it's right. They've done all the work for the kickoff. They've got the momentum. They just basically made that happen for themselves. So I think they deserve this space to attempt the solo play and not have you run in, take their boost, and do it. Like, that's just silly. You're closer to the back. It's easier for you to go get the back boost and just let them do their thing. All right, now we're gonna move into a more serious rule. Demoing your opponent in any way, shape, or form is cheating and is punishable by Rocket League law, up to, but not withholding, a 30-day suspension without possibility of free play. Oh, and I forgot to mention the most important rule. Oh, what number were we on here? We just did 8. Oh yeah, 69.
And although it hurts,